What's going on, Conscious Crew? It is your favorite breakdown commentator, CTV. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday. You already know what we're here to get into, girl. This is a very timely discussion, girl. It's interesting how synchronicities play themselves out in the multiverse of creation, girl. Before we get into the thick of this discussion, you already know what I want y'all to do. Go ahead and thumbs up this video until it is absolutely stuck up. Okay? Not only does thumb it up help with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system. So when you thumbs up a video, it is your way of knocking on the digital door of other Conscious Crew members who have no idea that we're allowed live and in color, popping that puss on this God-given Tuesday. Okay. Also, shout out to the new subbies. Make sure that you have your notification bell set to all, and wherever it is you have your digital community at, girl, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, MySpace, the dark side of Twitter, and Tumblr, your personal OF, lay the lake down and let them whores know that we allow live and in color. And with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through. Okay.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Trevor, I was just about to ask you, did you want to come up? I just texted you and said, what are you doing? And thank you for having your notifications set to all. I just sent you a text and was going to ask you, what are you doing? Because I wanted you to come on and chime in on this discussion with me. And you ain't got to even camp up watching your now you texting me back. Watch your video a little while I'm about to pass out. Oh, you about to pass out. You need to wake up, honey, okay? We got a world to save out here. Okay? Wake your ass up. Well, if you want, I'm going to text you the link anyway, just in case you want to come up, because, you know, I think as many of us need to really be talking about this stuff, especially in the height of this conversation that's being had over the past 2 weeks now when it comes to homophobia and transphobia and gender and all this stuff that I'm playing out. Hold on, y'all. Let me text Tremel the link super quick. See if I can drag him up into here. Hold on. And go ahead and thumbs up the video. You guys, welcome everyone. Welcome into the stream. Please thumbs up as you're coming in. Thumbing up is the most significant thing you can do for any content here on this platform. I can't speak for the mother whores, but over here, thumbing up, it's the most significant thing you can do. Hold on, y'all. Let me text Tremel the link. And share the stream out as well, y'all. I've been asleep all day. Y'all know I had passed out on last night's live, girl. I passed out, girl, like midway through last night's live, girl. I caught the replay on my own ish. Baby, y'all had it going on the panel, but I'm very proud of y'all for, you know, the very passionate dialogue that was had last night. It was actually so resurrecting and so refreshing to actually talk to sane, logical, well-informed, intelligent, and highly secure biological women as it relates to the term that has become equivalent to boric acid, okay, for biological females, which is this term cisgender, girl. It was so refreshing to actually hear other biological women challenging, educating, and really getting other women together on the term cisgender, honey, because I knew not everybody was cuckoo. I knew, baby, it had to be. biological women, black biological females out in the stratosphere, girl, who was educated and intelligent and got their shit together, who was just as confused as a lot of us are about the resistance when it comes to that term, child. So to see those women put in that motherfucking work last night, I was like, yes, honey, 2 steps for the kids. Let me welcome my guest. What is going on, birthday boy? Hi, Jamel. Hey, birthday boy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I'm sorry. I'm running around like a
I know
goddamn
you
crazy
running
person.
around. I ain't mad at it because I'm the one who done snatched you up out of the abyss.
You did. Hold on. What's
So,
going on?
not much. First of all, once again, happy belated birthday.
Oh my God, thank you.
It seems like you had a very festive birthday. You had an old nasty piece of private dinner with the most intimate of friends. Then you had to went and not rode a man, but rode Six Flags down to the ground. How was that?
When I tell you, let me tell you this. First of all, do not drink 5 days straight. Do not do that.
Definitely don't.
Don't do that to yourself because I am tired as hell. And going to Six Flags during the week real early is the tea, because guess what? I rode all the rides at least 2 times. It was so great. Just no lines, no none of that. It was just such a pleasant experience. I got to see the white peopling. It was
That
so
part.
nice.
That part. That is amazing. But you know what though? Now that I know that you like to ride, I'm gonna try to drag you. Have you ever been to the state fair?
Well, we have like amusement parks and state fairs that come here, but like I don't like them rides. Them rides give me a headache.
Well, I'm gonna drag your ass to the state fair this year.
Okay.
All right.
Draggable.
Yes, draggable. That part. Well, I'm glad you are alive. And how old are you now?
I'm 27.
Yes, I'm turning 27 this year too.
I'm 27 plus 10.
That part. Well, happy belated birthday. I wish I would have been there, but I'm gonna make it up to you, and I'm definitely coming through next year.
Yeah, you should.
All right, so you probably know what we're here to get into. So just to give the people a little backstory, then I got a question I want to ask you, and then there's some things I want us to touch on. Okay. All right, so you guys know. All right, the whole shit show that ensued as a result of a black transgender TikToker by the name of It's Blessing Rose on TikTok, who had some content that went viral. She wasn't even a huge content creator over on TikTok, so clearly somebody ambushed her content and decided to hijack it and upload it into the mainstream world, and that's where Jess Hilarious, T.S. Madison, Flamin' Roll, Angelica Ross, DJ Envy, Unwind with Budweiser K, all into the chat, girl, and it was a epic apocalyptic implosion. Okay, we ain't seen an implosion like that since the submersible Titan blew all them goddamn rich folk into shish kebab, girl. God. It was a hot shitty mess. And of course, all this conversation came up around protecting black women, which AKA means protecting black biological women. Conversations came up around transphobia, about womanhood, menstrual cycles, who gets to gatekeep what, etc. This also led to a series of content on my platform all last week addressing this issue, having panels. We going through it over cisgender, talking about the ins and outs of all of this and where we are in a very intersectional time like this, where we are trying as a nation, as a collective, to accommodate so many people with so many varying identities. So of course, language is expanding. Language is taking on new meanings. There are commas where there used to be periods, no pun intended. And you know, all of that has taken place. You guys also know that then led to me and Storm Monroe having a sit-down interview where we touched on gender, touched on sexuality, touched on the history of queer people in a third gender category all over the world, because this is not a new concept. A third gender, non-binary, transgender, agender, queer gender, etc., have existed in our concept that is old as time, going all the way back to ancient Egypt, to ancient Madagascar, ancient Mexico, etc. It's a very deep, complex history. It's a very inspiring one, knowing that people who were quote unquote supposed to be less technologically advanced than us actually seem to have been more open-minded and provided a space for male bodies that vibrated female souls and female bodies that vibrated male souls to be incorporated in their very social fabric, that these were not unusual manifestations, and that these people were allowed to have a place in the history of their communities, and also have a reverence there as well. Okay, now you guys know the Storm Chasers girl, they ain't the most affirming people, girl. Okay, so during my sit down interview, which was pre-recorded, the live chat during the interview was filled with a bunch of homophobia and transphobia and open resistance. And if you need to know that homophobia and transphobia and queerphobia is alive and well in the world, all you got to do is look at Storm's live chat, baby, doing his and I interview, girl. That's all the damn receipts you would need from CVS, Walgreens, Target, etc. That these hoes are just as debased, just as goddamn dark hearted as ever. So you guys know that then led to an after show where I wanted all that smoke, baby. I was ready to let have and just conclude the world through much fire and brimstone. Okay, so it went down on the after show. Then we came over here. It went down even more between biological folk, cis folk, etc. Child. And now we're here, interestingly enough, because a Brooklyn man, same gender loving man, was stabbed fatally outside of a Brooklyn gas station for being too effeminate. And as tragic as this is, I find it to be so timely that this tragedy happened on the same timeline as this controversy around gender and around being a minority and around the violence that queer people to this day in the 21st century in 2023 still face in contemporary times. That this is not a myth, this is not a mythology, this is not an urban legend, that queerphobia and homophobia are not a thing of the past. These things are just as real and are just as much of a reality in the lives of minority folk, queer minority folk today as they have ever been. But before we start getting off into these situations that I want me and Tremel here to speak on, Tremel, let me ask you, I know that you are an influencer, you're a content creator as well. I'm sure you did not miss any of the drama that took place between Jeff Hilarious and T.S. Madison and this TikToker. What was your thoughts about the controversy initially?
So initially watching the content creator, who I do not know, like you said, they done picked her up out of the nether regions of deep space and put her on full blast. I don't know. I don't even know how Jess Hilarious got a hope to that. I really don't.
Because it got posted to the shade room in the neighborhood talk.
Oh, okay. Well, see, I don't even know. I just know that she was the first person that I saw speaking on the situation, and me being a sound mind and body, I take it's just like one of those things of like, I understand what she's trying to say. I understand I understand all sides. I understand what the person of trans experience was trying to say, and I understand what Jess was trying to say. But I feel like there's a big level of miscommunication amongst what is actually the point here, because I've heard so many different follow-up videos to Jess, and of course I heard T.S. Madison speak, and it's like, I don't think they really know what the fight is really about. I really feel like they lost as hell, and it's just getting to a place where everybody's just trying to be like a pick me for my struggle, like see me first, and it's like people are dying, and y'all is talking about something that you got to shove up your excuse my language, but shove up your good box to stop from leaking out. It's like, come on now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not trying. I'm not a person of trans experience. I'm not trying to take biological women's, periods and stuff like that. I definitely do not want that. I'm very happy to be a man, me personally, and even people of trans experience. I don't feel like that's their claim to
Yeah.
womanhood. They want to be seen for the women that they are, as far as just the experience of being a woman. You know what I'm saying? The everything that comes with being identified as that gender, other than the just based down to the biological parts. I get that part of the argument, and I also get the part of the argument where women are saying, well, this is what it means to us to be a woman. This is what we were taught as little girls to be, what is so-called a woman. So I understand that part of what y'all were raised to believe, and or if that's not your case, obviously maybe it came from another place of what your womanhood is supposed to be. But there are definitely natural born women who don't have periods and don't menstruate, and there are women who do, and there are women who are um unable to bear children, and there are women that are, you know what I'm saying, and there are people of trans experience who are able to menstruate and carry children, and then there are non-binary people who are able to do the same thing. So it's like everybody just wants inclusion. I get it. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants their struggle to be first. But like, I think their struggles are very similar, even though they're different walks of life. I feel like their struggles are the same. They just want to be seen and represented in their own natural way. But I think that everybody just wants to be seen so goddamn bad that they just fighting with each other and calling each other the nastiest names I've ever heard in my life. You just out here calling trans women like nigga. You out here calling them men on a regular basis. Now, let me say this. Somebody did point out something very, very, very funny. It wasn't funny. I'm not going to say that. Y'all can find it funny if you want to. I found it quite interesting. We're just going to say interesting. Where they say if you take 20 individuals, you take 10 men, cis hetero men, and you take 10 trans women or women of trans experience, and you put them on an island, and then you take 10 men, 10 cis men, and 10 cis women, and put them on an island, what will you get in 100 years? Right?
Mm-hmm.
They say in 100 years on the island where there are the 10 men and the 10 women of trans experience, you will get the skeletons of 20 men. On the other island, you will have a civilization, right? And they felt like that was like an appropriate way to combat an argument about just inclusion and just is that what y'all are really diminishing to, people being able to have children? Like, you're really trying to not see a whole class or group of people just based off of the predication of reproduction.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
what's shocking about that, Tramel, about the whole reproduction focus. This is the same community of people who believe in contraception, who believe in getting their tubes tied, who go and get vasectomies, who believe in the use of condoms, but yet all of a sudden make claim that same-gender loving people and trans persons' focus is supposed to be reproducing, while they openly practice safe sex and contraception means. Make it make sense.
Absolutely. What is so funny to me is that these people be having all these kids and don't even like none of them. They don't even want to raise them.
Yeah, half these people shouldn't even be parents.
Half of them shouldn't be parents. I have no children. But I do see a lot of people who really do not raise their children properly, like in my opinion. And I'm just gonna say, in my opinion, I do not have children. I don't tell people how to raise their kids, but they got some crazy. Who making us? Y'all is making us. So, and why don't y'all love us? I don't understand. She was up there screaming loud and wrong about, well, loud and proud. I ain't even gonna say she was wrong, but Jess is like, we made y'all, we birthed y'all. Okay, then why don't you love us?
Ooh,
Why don't you love your creation? I'm not understanding. You want to say so bad that you made us. You made us. We're your responsibility.
I would need to take a moment of silence for that. You birthed us. Why don't you love? Oh, baby, that's a word.
That's all I sit up there and think about, like, all the time. Their favorite thing to say. The whatever lady, she was like, you can't take nothing from a woman because you can't birth children. You can't birth this. I've gave birth to y'all. Y'all want to be us? We give birth to y'all. Okay, then why don't you love us? Why don't you love us? Why don't you take care of us? Why don't you understand us? You gave us life. Give us love. Give that to us.
Wow.
That's all we've ever asked for. Love and understanding. That's what you give to your children.
You know what's funny about that, Tremel, is, often, men for a long time have, and males, I should say, for a long time have allowed women to really take up the space around birth. The reality is, males ourselves could single-handedly also stop the reproduction of the world. These women are not having immaculate conception. So if we ceased to shoot up the club, if we ceased, to pump and dump, if we boycotted and chose to not release the seed of life to be incubated, we single-handedly could halt the reproduction of the world. It's not women all in of themselves who have reproductive power. You're not doing this alone. Men are just as much of the gatekeepers of life as women are. So what would the world be? Where would the population be if all men cease, once again, to plant their seed into soil? And I want to welcome, damn, my computer moving slow, Intersex to the platform. Hey, Intersex.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I am well. Hope you are doing well. I know you wanted to provide your thoughts. I'm actually glad that you are here. Tremel, Intersex Tremel, and Intersex.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm blessed. I can't complain, but I ain't gonna complain.
And Intersex is actually a woman who is of intersex origin. So she has shared her story here on the Consciouztv platform about her birth and what it was like to actually grow up as an intersex person, etc. What have been your thoughts this week as all of this drama has played out? What has this felt like for you as an intersex person?
So, I've been wanting to. I saw you did a couple of videos, and I've been trying to make them, but I've been working 7 days a week. So I have a lot of thoughts on first the original video, and just one of my female friends sent me the video, and basically they sent me the video basically like thought that I knew who the person was. And I'm like, okay. So I'm listening to the video and I'm listening to everything that was said.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing I struggle with is the umbrella of the trans experience. Like, I do feel like these days, eventually, trans people who identify as trans, eventually they're not gonna experience the whole trans experience. They just gonna identify. And that's just my personal opinion because this is controversial. how could you call yourself trans and not take hormones and not transition? And I don't like to take away from people's experience, but I feel like a lot of people is having opinions about situations and they haven't been transitioned a long time. And it makes a difficult living environment for um trans women who've been in the experience for years and et cetera, et cetera. Um, a long time ago, like watching polls, I realized that some things that as women of trans experience, we say different things to each other that be so mean and it can make somebody feel so low when it comes to judging another person's transition.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, in the beginning of everybody transition, you would struggle with different, you know, things like your look. Yeah, like I explained on your panel that I felt like I would naturally already had that female look, but once I started taking hormones, it kind of uh roughing me up before it made me beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And during those times, you would have other trans women, you know, calling you a brick, saying different disrespectful things about you that would hinder your transition if you allow it to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just feel like if you are ally or if you even call yourself my friend, why would you even send me something like that?
Mm-hmm.
Like why? And then you want, oh, what is cisgender? You asking me all these questions, and I'm trying to educate you, and it's a back and forth, and it's like, first of all, I've been working. I have not been on social media. You sent this to me, but now you want to have the conversation, but you're not agreeing to something that I'm telling you, and I'm telling you a life that I have lived since I was technically 16, but for out since I was 18 and I'm 35. So it's nothing about that experience that you're going to tell me about. Not
Right.
saying that I know everything about the experience, but I also have friends and associates who live the experience who we communicate about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a difficult subject. I have watched different panels. I watched yours and
Mm-hmm.
um you remember initially I said I really didn't want to speak on the cisgender word
Yeah.
because I kind of understand how, you know, women feel about the word. But
Yeah.
with that being said, you have to understand how saying crazy words to us make us feel.
So, do you know what's funny? Intersex. Well,
Hmm.
before I ask you that, I want to ask Tremel. Tremel, how do you feel about the term cisgender? Like, because you know, even like a lot of people forget that the cisgender terminology applies to same gender loving men and women too. Like despite the fact our orientation is homo, that we also are cisgendered as well. Do you have any problem with the prefix cisgender, Tremel? And you're on mute. Mhm.
Yeah, me personally, I don't have a problem with it.
Mm.
But I can also understand that for some people, especially older people and people who just really are just not really with the extra changes in their pronouns and or you know prefixes, they just really just do not want to. That's like they just really want like, oh, I'm a dude, I'm a woman. What is this cis stuff? Like, what is it? What is it? What does that mean? You know, some people are just really just adverse to the whole education of it all, I guess. So I guess I can. I mean, at the end of the day, I think their argument is valid. Of, in my opinion, of If you don't want to be called something, don't call them that. But it also goes both ways. I hate it. I really, really, really hate it when a cisgender woman, I'm gonna say whatever, wants to be called just a woman, and they say we call y'all what y'all want to be called. We try to, but to be perfectly honest, as soon as you get mad, you are quick to call a person of trans experience either a man or a woman.
Mm-hmm.
You just a man. You just a man. No, see, it's got to go both ways. If you want to say, oh, don't call me cis this, but you have to call them, call a person she, him, whatever their pronouns are. I hate it when people do that. I hate that. It's so aggravating because you say, "Oh, I don't want to be called cis," but then as soon as you get mad, I call y'all what y'all want to be called. But as soon as you get mad, oh, that's a man.
Mm-hmm.
So what's funny about that is I was going to say the intersex is last night I had the luxury of speaking to some biological Black females about the term cisgender over on Storm's platform and over here too. And what I found to be fascinating is that there's this attempt to brand the prefix cis as a slur, which is just not going to happen if I'm in the room. Like the term, the prefix cis in the way that we're using the term is a gender affirming prefix. So you're not going to take the term cis and equivocate it to the F word or the T word or the D word. Like if you don't like the term, that's fine, but you're not going to brand it as a freaking slur when it's literally a term that's came out of academics circles and medical and scientific circles that is a gender affirming term.
Mm-hmm.
How do y'all feel about biological hetero folk trying to brand the prefix CIS as a actual slur, and then their excuse is, well, y'all don't want us to call y'all the FAG word or the TRANNY word or the DYKE word? Excuse me, ma'am, those are actual slurs, and you're trying to pit the words up to these actual insults, and that is a false equivalence, though.
I just don't understand why they think trans women created that word. That's what I'm confused at. Like the word wasn't created by trans women. Like some of us is learning the word, like, with y'all. I don't know. But when he finished answer the question, I have experience that I went through this weekend that has a lot to do with the subject, if you
Oh,
want me to share.
yes, I want you to share. I want us to get through these stories first, and then after we get to these stories I want us to touch on, I would love you to share the story. If you wanted to respond to that question, Tramel, before we get into the thick of it, you can.
Oh yeah, so
In
I
terms
feel
of
like
cis work, in terms of the dominant class trying to brand the cis word as a slur.
yeah, I think people are just really people who do not like the term are really just fighting against I call it the quid pro quo of just being categorized, because it's not normal, quote unquote, for a cisgender hetero person to be categorized as anything in this day society. There's no LGBTQ for them. They are just the quid, the pro quo. So they don't want to have terms on them, because then those terms could be, quote unquote, used against them in a derogatory term, as the F word and or other terms that they might think that they can throw at us. So they don't want to have anything able to be thrown at them. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yes, and I want to say this too, because I've been keeping it a bean all week, and I'm gonna continue to keep my foot on the issue of transphobia, or queerphobia, or same-gender loving phobia. I have noticed, because see, what has been triggering me over the past week and a half is this big ass elephant that's in the room that the dominant class does not want to be honest about. There is a tension, there is a inherent bias and hate that the dominant class has towards queer people, and that's largely due to Christianity and largely due to Western religion. And I'm not mad about the fact that most people are transphobic and inherently homophobic because of religion, because even queer people had to decolonize their minds and dismantle religious identity in ourselves, because most of us also believe that stuff and use that stuff to feel ashamed and to feel guilty about who we were. So we had to also work through the impact and influence of religion on our own psyches and psychology as it related to our identities. So I give the dominant class grace to be like, okay, I understand why y'all stuck in park, but what I don't understand is once you now have been afforded the opportunity to be enlightened and to be educated and to actually hear the very powerful and passionate lived experiences of queer people, even if you don't necessarily want to give up certain things that you believe in belief system, I would think that it would encourage more compassion and empathy, which Christ always spoke about, irregardless of whether people were sinners or whether people were saints or where people fell into the categories in terms of righteous, unrighteous, etc. That Christ never took compassion and empathy off the table. And so this need to justify open disrespect and disregard of queer people simply because you believe something is not even Christ-like. So why are you even utilizing the Bible to begin with? Because you don't see Christ doing to people what a lot of these self-professed Christians are out here doing and attempting to make people feel while claiming that their soul salvation of Christhood. Where in the hell do you see in the scriptures Christ, your Lord and Savior, who died for your sins, who rose on the third day, bust hell wide open, resurrected the saints and took them into a deeper glory of God in the aftermath of it, going around berating and beating people over the fucking head with the Bible or with scriptures or with Christhood? Where do you see him trampling behind queer people in the scriptures and Bible thumping against them? You don't. Where do you see Christ out here just out here passing out disrespect and disregard at every which table? There were people that Christ literally was approached by who wasn't even of his fold, and he told them that and still blessed them and answered their prayers. Like, this is how wide open the compassion and empathy of Christ was. So, and is. So for these self-professed Christians to think that it's Christ-like to co-opt and hijack scriptures they don't even understand contextually from these Dead Sea Scrolls, and then utilize them to bring about emotional and psychological and a lot of times physical harm to queer people is very wild to me. It's on one hand, it's so hypocritical and wild to me, and it's just it's interesting to see how dense and hypocritical and how much, like, I can't even take homophobes seriously at this point. I don't even take these people seriously. I don't even take them seriously enough to even pay them any attention. I don't take them seriously enough to even really listen to them anymore. I don't take them seriously. Like, they literally mean nothing to me because they don't even take themselves seriously. They don't even walk in a integrity and walk in a comprehensiveness and a cohesiveness in their theology and in their practice of their own humanity to even warrant me to even take them seriously. So that's why I stay in my motherfucking lane. It's interesting to me, but I just find it wild that the dominant class can be privileged enough to look in the face of a queer people like Intersex, Tramiel, CTV, and so many of us, T.S. Madison, Laverne Cox, so many, Janice Bach, so many people who are are willing to be vulnerable and then have their experiences dismissed. So one of the things that came up yesterday was a attempt by the dominant society to make homophobia and queerphobia appear to be something that was made up in the minds of same-gender loving folk. So let's talk about the most recent tragic story involving ShaeSibley. Okay, the story just came up and out today. So tragic. My computer is moving very slow, you guys, because it's dying. But I'm gonna try to put up a visual here. I hope MacBook pussy don't fail me now. Hold on, y'all. Let me see if I can pull this up. And while I'm doing this, please go ahead and thumbs up the video. How doing? Thumbs up the video. Okay, on the screen, who you're going to see here is ShaeSibley. Okay, this is Shay, you guys. Let me make sure. Can y'all see this on the screen, Tremel and Intersex? Because my shit moving super slow.
I cannot see a thing.
Not yet.
Okay. I think it's coming up now. How doing? That's right, Ebony. How doing? Let me see. Oh, my computer moving this slow. But I already got my tabs pulled up on this Mac. Jesus, I don't want to have to change Macs. Hold on, y'all.
Not your mac and cheese is macking.
That part, honey. The Mac is not macking, honey. It's all mac and no cheese. I need the cheese.
He was such a beautiful young man.
Oh, you can see him now on the screen because I can't see him on my end. Can y'all see him on y'all end?
Yes.
Okay, so y'all gonna have to tell me what's on the screen because it ain't showing up on my end. So I'm glad. Okay, so this is ShaeSibley, you guys. So this story just came up out of here today. I'm gonna read an article here by the NY Daily News about what took place, and all of this was captured on surveillance, guys. So this is ShaeSibley, a professional dancer who was voguing at a Brooklyn gas station after a trip to the Jersey Shore with his friends, was stabbed to the point of being unalived during a confrontation on Saturday night with a group of Muslim men who said that the victim's impromptu performance offended their faith. Witnesses and friends told the Daily News. ShaeSibley, 28 years of age, a professional dancer who has performed at Lincoln Center as part of an all-queer dance group, was blasting music and dancing with pals at the Midwood Mobile Station on Coney Island Avenue and Avenue P just after 11 p.m. when their antics drew homophobic protests from a group of men nearby, authorities and witnesses said. Okay, guys, I'm trolling. My computer was so slow. The NYPD is investigating the caught on video unaliving as a possible hate crime. In surveillance video from the scene, Sibley and his 4 friends, all shirtless in swim trunks on one of the hottest days of the year, can be seen getting out of their white sedan to pump gas. A friend of the victim in small tight trunks, a witness described as underwear, began dancing. Okay, scrolling, y'all. I'm scrolling down, child. Computer moving at 5 miles per hour, child. That's when a group of men exiting the mobile station started harassing the 28-year-old victim, clad in pink swim shorts, his pals, according to Sumi Eula, a 32-year-old who witnessed the argument and the slaying. This is so.
Are you talking still? Hello, Conscious? Are you conscious?
Okay, sorry about that. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. My other Mac is dying. I got to get the battery actually replaced on it, so it got stuck on stupid. So, sorry about that. So let me go back to, gosh, I really want to, man. All right, so let me just go ahead and I ain't even gonna worry about putting up no pictures, okay? I don't know what the last part that you guys heard, but one of the witnesses were saying, quote, they were saying, oh, we're Muslim, so don't do this in front of me, said Eula. Quote, from that, I think it looks like a hate crime. Quote, nothing else was going on. They were only dancing, he added. This guy was dancing in underwear, and the suspect was like, why are you dancing in your underwear? Eula says he believes the stabber was motivated by homophobia. Quote, obviously they are gay, and if they are dancing, that's the problem they had, he said. One member of the victim's group walked up to the men, followed by three others, and they exchanged heated words. Video obtained by the news shows. Quote, you like girls, you look like you're into girls, but we are not into girls, Eula said. The victim's group told them, the men harassing them, we have our own life. We can do whatever we want, you know. We're dancing. That's our life. Eula said he convinced the two groups to calm down and told everyone to step away, but one of the men harassing the victim's group continued to use his cell phone to record the shirtless men and cursed them as they returned to their car. That sparked the victims group to return to the front of the store to argue some more with the man recording them. Eula again urged the man to cool down, and the man recording the victim walked off through the parking lot. But Sibley chased after him and was stabbed by the man who had been recording, according to Eula. The video shows the stabbing happen in a split second, with the shocked victim still on his feet as a crowd gathered around him. Medics rushed Sibley, stabbed in the torso, to May Manad's medical center, but he couldn't be saved. The unaliver ran off on Coney Island Avenue and has not been caught. Eula believes the suspect and his friends frequent a smoke shop down the block. Cops were inside the smoke shop investigating hours after the unaliving, but a man in the shop told a news reporter that the store had no connection to the unaliving. Quote, he was a beacon, said Malik Perry, 31 years of age, who described himself as Sibley's best friend, a representation of what gay Black excellence could represent and what different facets it can come in. What I've heard was that it was unprovoked, a homophobic attack, Barry added. Sibley moved to Brownsville from Philadelphia 3 years ago to pursue his lifelong passion for dance, according to his aunt. Quote, ever since he was young, he was always bopping around, said Sibley's aunt, who gave her name as Mona. New York has more opportunities for dancing than here in Philly. During Pride Month in 2020, Sibley joined an all queer dance group organized by choreographer Kamar Jewell called Vogue for Black Lives Matter, and the dancers promenaded outside of the Washington Square Arch in Greenwich Village, carrying signs that read, protect Black trans women. O'Shea was multifaceted, possessed a lot of talent and passion and a huge heart, said Barry. He loved to sing, he loved to dance, he loved to act, he loved to model. Sibley and his companions were flamboyantly gay, according to friends. One neighbor had thoughts to warn the Philadelphian that his friend's behavior could jeopardize his safety. Quote, they were flamboyant, said Beckenbar Hamilton, 51 years of age, who lived in Brownsville near Sibley. These are people that don't live here. They don't know the neighborhood. I'm just saying this for their own safety because I'm gay too. Homophobia is rampant around here, Hamilton added, very rampant. Barry and Sibley strategized how to respond if confronted by belligerent homophobia, with both men agreeing that they would do everything in their power to de-escalate a potentially violent situation, according to the victim's friend. Quote, we've talked about reacting in situations and keeping calm and keeping your cool, said Barry. It doesn't seem he would have provoked that or deserved that. My God, today, you guys. Did you guys hear this? So this was a very active, lively, talented young man who moved from Philly to pursue his dreams of dancing in New York, participated in protesting and allyship for trans women, for queer people, was very unapologetically feminine, very unapologetically same gender loving, and this man's life was claimed by a bunch of homophobic, religious oriented men who thought that they had the right to police and to intimidate and to demand these people to tone down their life, to tone down their authenticity, to tone down who they are. Now, once again, this story happens on the same timeline that this conversation around gender identity and around the dominant society, once again, pretending and acting like homophobia is a thing of the past, when you have also the neighbor of Sibley who literally is saying, look, I tried to warn O'Shea, him and his friends about, how violent the community is and how much same gender loving people and effeminate men are not welcome whatsoever. And this witness and neighbor is also queer himself and has had to live in a way where he can't even show up fully in who he is, just for the comfortability of other belligerent, indignant motherfuckers who would threaten your life in light of being who you are. And yet, when queer people take the stand and literally talk about, yes, 2023, yes, in 2023, where there is RuPaul Drag Race, where there's a Lil Nas X, where there's a Wanda Sykes and a T.S. Madison and a Laverne Cox, and there's a Cherry DeBone, and there's all the so-called visibility, where there's a Caitlyn Jenner. Yes, homophobia, queer phobia is just as dark and insidious, and once again, alive and well, as anywhere else. Intersex and Tramiel. Even though you individuals are self-accepting, self-loving, unapologetically queer yourself, do you in 2023, even as grown adults, still also find yourselves having to consider the time and the place as it relates to the way you show up? Are there places that you avoid? Are there neighborhoods you avoid? Are there certain clubs and events you avoid because of the issue of homophobia and queerphobia? Can y'all expound upon that a little bit?
Um. Well, uh, I catch a I spend $45 every day to get to work because when I was young, the trauma that I faced on public transportation. So yeah, even though like I'm passable and like I have passable privilege and beauty privilege, but still from the trauma of back in the day, of back my early days of catching a bus and the things that would happen on the bus stop and on the bus, and when it should stop, when you about to get up and get it off, what's about to happen. um because I live in Baltimore City, and I definitely was part of Philadelphia barroom scene. So yes, I face a lot of stuff, or I mean, my friends have anyway. Like I lived in a rough neighborhood. They would never disrespect me, but when my friends would come and visit me, they would
Mhm.
throw bottles at them.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And how does that make you feel to like you are a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen in this country who should be able to feel safe as you
Hmm.
go about your life, as you go about your travels, as you go about your experiences, and to know that you have to avoid and you have to consider the bullshit um in a world that you do the right thing in, and because there's other sick ass people in the world, like you got to move like this and you got to move like that, and you got to
Hmm.
think and strategize about, okay, what is, what I'm gonna look like today, what is it gonna give, where am I gonna be, da 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 da. I mean, like, how does that make you feel? Because for me, for a long time, um it made me angry that
Yeah.
I did not feel like I had the luxury of safety, just in the freedom to move how the fuck I want to move.
It it made me angry, but it more made me timid, like very open eyes, don't like to give guys my address. Before I get out of my Uber, I have my key out and ready to push it in. But it had me more alert and more timid and paying attention to my surroundings, and maybe even looking too deep into people's side conversations. And um let's be clear, she and he sounds very close. Like
Yeah.
did. It just your mind playing tricks on you, and it's just like it's trauma that will never go away. Maybe it will never go away because I lived it. And that's another big thing of transitioning of in the early 2000s and actually transitioning now. It's two different lives, and it's two different things. Like, you had to be passable. I mean, I have a lot of girlfriends that still don't come outside until it's dark.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Tremel, how do you feel? Like, do you still feel like you gotta consider the time and the place? Like, I know that you are an artist and you are a musician. Like, do you like would you take every gig? I mean, do you consider how you would be received in a more hyper masculine crowd? Um, like if you were to be booked for something very hood like, would you feel even comfortable taking that gig, knowing what the politics of certain communities are as it relates to a femininity or as it relates to same gender loving people? I don't think you're on mute.
Yeah. So although I don't really have that experience, and I am, in a sense, of course, I'm thankful, but I'm also very, very vigilant and empathetic of the experience of not, just having to just worry about walking down the street per se, and just having to, worry about leaving my house and how I interact with people, and worrying about what people are going to say just because they see me. I'm very gracious of that experience, of ignorance to that experience, but I'm also very aware that that is other people's experience, and I'm very empathetic to it because I do have, of course, friends of trans experience, and I hear their stories, and it just makes me feel really, really sad. And yeah, there are definitely some spaces where I'm not as comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I were to perform, like, I mean, of course, I'm not going to like the hoodest club and where I know that they listen to a bunch of, just rap music. I mean, I do soft R&B, and I am a queer artist at the same time. So it's like, I just know that that's not my space, that is not my audience. So just knowing where I am accepted and going where I'm accepted and not tolerated is definitely always the goal.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will say, but for me, just in my every day to day, I will be more vigilant now because something like this, like, just, I mean, it happens. You do know that these things happen to people, and it is fleshed out now because it's happened to this young man. It's like he could be me, he could be you, he could be any of us at this particular time. You know what I'm saying? That could have been me. You know what I'm saying? Just living my life, hanging out with my friends, like I am, really pussy popping and all over that. I that could have been me. You know what I'm saying? When I get drunk, when I'm out having a good time with my friends, like, who cares what it looks like? Like, I'm not bothering nobody. But at the end of the day, it could bother someone. So being aware of your surroundings is definitely something that I will take away from this. And it is very, very unfortunate that we have to live like this, any of us. And it just makes you think, like, it really is hard out here to be us, and to be even in this space of queerness and just LGBTQ period. And most people will never understand what that's like, just to be yourself. And while we're arguing about, like, pronouns and stuff like that, people are literally dying about just trying to be who they are, and people don't even respect that, and it's so sad.
Absolutely tragic. And I just want to continue to really kind of show the type of social violence and physical violence that queer people endure because what I experienced yesterday in talking to a certain sector of the dominant class was, it was the gaslighting for me and just the straight up denial on homophobia and queerphobia. And it was flabbergasting to see the Black community literally attempt to rebrand the Black community as one of the most inclusive communities that there are. And as I said on my own platform last night, the Black community is very, 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 very accepting in terms of those ex-cons y'all turn into pastors, in terms of those murderers y'all make into pastors, in terms of those thieves and burglars and those felons that y'all turn into pastors. But queer people have not been afforded to have that same embrace. And it's kind of wild that the Black community will pedestalize and welcome with open arms the most heinous and delinquent of people, and yet will meet Black queer folk with all of this smoke and all of this heat. And it just really makes you fall back and ask yourself, what in the living fuck did queer people ever do to you motherfuckers? Like you would think that the pedos and the unalivers and the abusers and the trap housers and the people that actually pile drugs and violence and sustain terror in Black communities would actually be the ones who are gate kept out of the community. And here it is. Queer folk are treated as the scum deranged of the earth. And it's sickening. It's sickening for the dominant society to ignore the homophobia that's been perpetuated and propagated by way of their religions and their social norms, and have literally grown up witnessing homophobia being done to same gender-loving men and women and transgender persons, non-binary persons, etc. And just for the sake of avoiding guilt and shame about doing absolutely nothing, or by being the villains themselves who perpetuated that behavior in various ways unto queer people, would rather deny that it ever existed and make queer people feel absolutely crazy, rather than to take responsibility and to be honest and sincere about what we all witness and experience in our households, in our school systems, and in the highways and the byways of the community as it related to trans and queer people. It's ridiculous. And another tragic story is the one of not only ShaeSibley, which is just shocking that once again, in 2023, people are being unalived over who the fuck they are. Black queer people. There was this story by, or of, I should say, Maurice Willoughby, who is a Philadelphia man who life was claimed by self-deletion as a result of a lot of trauma in his life. And one of those trauma being the fact that his very public relationship to his Black trans girlfriend was something that got him taunted and publicly bullied and cyberbullied into self-deletion. I'm going to have to actually share this article because there is a video of the lynch mob against this Black man who had the nerve to love a trans Black woman out loud and was met with social violence, verbal and emotional abuse publicly, as it related to his choice, as it related to his love language, as it related to his attractions. And this is courtesy of them.us.com. Okay, let's read here. Yesterday, news began to spread that Maurice Willoughby Willoughby Jr., a 20-year-old cisgender man from Philadelphia who was in a relationship with a trans woman named Faith Palmer, had allegedly died by a drug overdose. According to Advocate, Maurice allegedly fell into a deep depression after a video went viral depicting others bullying and shaming him for his relationship after reportedly threatening to take his own life and hers. Faith wrote that she left him, and it was then that Maurice overdosed. Okay, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. Now look at this live footage here posted on Twitter. It was captioned, "When a man is confident and secure enough to openly love a trans woman, this is the bullying and harassment he gets. When trans-attracted men unalive us, it's out of fear that this here would happen to Mr. Wilbo or Mr. Maurice. What happened to them if they're outed? Reese didn't unalive his girlfriend. He unalived himself instead." Now, this is a very powerful caption. People like Cynthia G need to take a look and analyze this video. So when she asked me yesterday, why is it that trans women are committing transphobia by not disclosing their gender identity, and why are they lying to their intimate male partners, etc.? Yeah, this is why, because the fragility of Black men's perception of themselves and masculinity, and what it will cost them if this relationship is known. So I really give this young man here props for 20 years of age, taking on the world, trying to be his authentic self, and dealing with extreme social violence, both digitally and physically. Check out this video and listen to him be berated by this mob of other bio-hetero Black men.
You say, keep it a beat. You fuck what? You fuck what? Bro, you do what?
Fuck tranny, so what?
That's thorough? Like, that's not thorough. You sucking dick and all that. That's not thorough, sucking dick and all that. He sucked dick.
I'm gonna play that one more time.
You say, keep it a beat. You fuck what? You fuck what? Bro, you do what?
Fuck tranny, so what?
That's thorough? Like, that's not thorough. You sucking dick and all that. That's not thorough, sucking dick and all that. He sucked dick.
Could you imagine coming from the Chevron, minding your business, and you are being recorded, berated, you are being verbally assaulted, you are being threatened, your manhood and masculinity is being challenged, all because of who it is you love. And they around here asking the Cynthia fucking shiny wig wearing G's of the damn world, asking why the hell trans women are lying and why the hell they're being unalived, etc.
Now, first of all, hold up.
As if that's happening within a vacuum. Yes, please insert.
Wait. I'm gonna think I'm a little bit lost. Mm-hmm. Who is Cynthia G? Because I'm not confused.
Nobody, a ratchet ass, misandrous female who cannot stand Black men and who feels that Black women's reproductive organs are literal portals and gateways to hell because they produce Black males and Black men and bring Black men into the world, who allegedly is a goddamn TERF as well. And she has very shiny wigs she wears.
Okay, I'm still not sure who this is, but
so what do you think about like because it's one thing for us as queer people to like say it, and to tell our stories, but when you get to actually see the violence and you get to see like the literal representation of what happens just because of who you are and because of who you love, like.
And so again, and I say, there is something mentally wrong with a lot of people in this world. They ask for certain things and then they try to attack you for the same things that they ask for you to do. This young man stood in his truth and was very open and honest about who he was attracted to, whether it be a person of trans experience, or, you know, other non-binary. He never said he was attracted to a man or anything like that. But the fact that he was very open and honest about it was met with so much like attention and vitriol, and they're the main ones like, oh, you, if you like that, you should just tell me so I can make a decision for
2023.
myself. You should tell me, you should be open and honest and don't be hiding and don't be this. And but when you live out loud, this is what you find. It's like, I'm gonna need for y'all to pick a side. Pick a side of non-botheredness, minding your business, or let these people just live their lives the way they need to live them without your input. Because either you want to know what's going on so you can leave people alone, or do you want to know because you want to be all up in their business and attack them for it? It's just giving very much weird.
Are we talking about everybody, Pamela? Black, biological, male and women, and how they contribute to homophobia and transphobia? Because the homophobia I was met with yesterday in Storm's chat were largely propagated by Black females.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we're just covering the wide range to make sure that everybody get their turn in the hot seat. since both biological Black male and females, both biological heterosexual Black females and males want to be in denial that homophobia and transphobia is a thing. So we just want to make sure that everybody get their turn. Everybody get their turn. Mm-hmm. Intersex, how do you feel?
I mean, the video was very triggering. You know, I have been in relationships with or I seen the guy, I seen like someone I dealt with and that guy. So it was like he didn't experience that while we were in a relationship, but when we got out of relationship, he wanted to own, you know, me and, you know, introduce me to his brother, his sister, his mother, and et cetera, et cetera. I think what's more disgusting is some of the videos I seen of his mother, how she talked about the woman he was in love with. That was more disgusting to me.
Yeah. It's sad. And could you imagine, because, you know, they struggled in their relationship largely because of a lot of the stress from the harassment and the constant menacing and terrorism that they received. And you can just only imagine how toxic that made their relationship, trying to love each other, not only just amidst homophobia and transphobia, but then all the other issues that human beings just have outside of these realities. It's fucked up how homophobia and transphobia impacts queer people and their friendships, their relationships. I mean, I know I've literally heard parents even disown their children because they couldn't deal with the shame of having a trans daughter, having a trans son, having a same gender loving son or daughter. Like literally parents who fall apart and adhere to peer pressure because of what it looks like to other people to support and affirm your queer child, etc. And I think you were trying to say something.
And also while looking at the video, I was just imagining what he felt inside. Like,
terrible.
Like
He was on drugs and all.
What was his inner thought when he seen
He
the
wanted
camera?
to unalive himself.
Right.
Yeah. He wanted to unalive himself. He struggled with his mental health, and he ultimately took his life. And he used drugs to self-medicate. And what's interesting about even drugs, drugs are a thing in the LGBT community too, because it's been used as a way to lubricate dealing with all of the stresses of your life, you know. And I guess that's the same thing that really drives all people to being addicts or utilizing drugs, is for the sake of seeking some type of relief or comfortability. I think a lot of the issues in the queer community, whether it's drugs, whether it's the abuse of sex, etc., are all those are all things that the queer people use to escape the pain of their lives. And I'm a big component of I think the LGBT community, especially the Black LGBT community, needs to undergo massive therapy, as I always say about the Black community as a whole. I mean, because it's too much of an intersectional existence to not be in front of a therapist working through the trauma. But I think because we live within the Black community, that we also have been a part of trauma that's been normalized for so long, that a lot of Black queer people, just like a lot of Black biological heterosexual people, don't even know that they're in trouble. They don't even know that they are dysfunctional. They don't even know that they're even out of touch. They don't even know that the reason why they keep experiencing certain issues in certain areas of their life, that may be with money, that may be with interpersonal and intimate relationships, that may be with friendships, etc., are the result of undealt with, unrecognized, undiagnosed mental health issues. So while the dominant society is trying to be funny about the fact, like, cause they always use mental health as a dig when it comes to trans persons or when it comes to queer people. Yeah, we do need therapy, but not as it relates to our gender identity, not as it relates to our orientation, but as it relates to putting up with you motherfuckers is why we need therapy. Having to deal with you sick ass, low vibrational ass motherfuckers is why the fuck we need to be in front of fucking Dr. Phil. We don't need to be in front of the therapist's office to deal with how we love and our gender identity and gender expression and etc. But from living amongst you sick ass folk. And I would like to see more queer people, more queer Black people for sure, go and do their work and really press the gas on that mental health, because it's been a lot to live through. It's already really weird to be Black in a racist system, and then to also be queer and Black within a racist system is just even damn wilder. Like, I feel like I'm in a damn Jordan Peele movie. I do. I feel like I'm in Get Out.
You're going down to the sunken place.
Right. I feel like I'm in the goddamn Tethers. Like,
but
you
I
know,
feel
it's a
like,
very bizarre existence.
but I feel like in 2023, still using that trans women is tricking these men, when it's so much in the media now, it's so much everywhere now, it's so much coverage on it, that, like, even that video around this time, like, having conversation. I remember having conversation with men, and when I felt comfortable. Oh, I'm a woman of trans experience who happens to be intersex, and the uh the response start changing because how the media is. So, and then, okay, so I have like multiple, social medias, but I always keep my social media with, the LGBT community, because you know why? When you meet guys and you following them on Facebook and you see your girlfriends as mutual friends who have that they trans on their page. They have them walking balls on their page. So how could you tell me that you don't know? Like the last experience I had with a guy, I asked him, I was like, well, wow, you have a lot of trans women on on your page. Mind you, he does not know I'm trans at this time. So he's just like, oh no, da 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 da. And I'm just sitting here like, little do you know that these are my friends, and I already know, and I see you liking their pictures, and I see the picture before that you like is her walking a ball. Like, sir, what the hell? Like in this day and age, it's so much on people's page that they're a woman of trans experience. So for women or for people to even think that in this time that women is tricking men is
And here's
so.
the gag about that, Intersex. Biological Black heterosexual men and women know that they are lying when they use that type of rhetoric just to be transphobic, because if these biological Black straight females always feel that they can tell when a bitch is trans, how much more can the nigga that she with tell she's trans? Because if you let these biological heterosexual females tell it, they always know the difference. They can always see
Mhm.
it. They can always discern it. I mean, it says obvious as a billboard in the middle of Times Square, but all of a sudden, so you can tell and see that this woman is trans, but he can't, like, move the fuck around.
Can I mess up the conversation real
Absolutely.
quick?
Mhm.
Y'all ready?
Sure.
Give it to me.
Okay, so for all of the intuitive women who say that they can see it a mile away that a woman is of a trans experience, and anybody could tell, and that's their favorite go-to. I'm just saying that's if that's their favorite go-to. Yes,
Yes.
anybody can tell if a man still goes for it and is and or whatever you want to call it tricked by it. He's still interested. He gets to a point where, oh, you're not, oh, you're that's who you are, okay. And if he still likes her, or if he was still attracted to her at one point, I feel like women like to go for the, oh, she must have tricked you, because then that makes her feel better about herself and how she experienced her womanhood, because clearly that must have been a trick. That must have been a lie. If you couldn't tell, they must have lied to you because I can tell. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like that makes them feel better to say. I don't think men are necessarily feeling like, oh my God, you tricked me. They just feel like, shoot, you look good.
Look,
I
and
liked what I saw.
but you know what's crazy about that? Because a lot of this, Tramel, is a lack of education on gender and sex. Because there's a thing called androphilia and genophilia, and Larry Reed had went live on yesterday, and he had asked the question of why is it that straight women love them some studs. And I had texted him and told him it's because of androphilia. Androphilia is the attraction to masculinity. A lot of people who are androphilia can be attracted to masculinity regardless of what form it's in. So you can be attracted to the masculinity in a biological man. You can be attracted to the masculinity in a biological woman. You can be attracted to the masculinity in a trans man. Like a lot of, and this is why a lot of women who also consider themselves heterosexual also make the exception for dating masculine presenting same gender loving women, because they are attracted to masculinity. And it's the same thing with femininity. There's something in behavioral science called genophilia, which is the opposite of androphilia. It's the attraction to femininity. And you can be attracted to femininity in many forms. When you are a genophilia person, you can be attracted to the femininity of a biological woman,
Absolutely.
femininity within a trans woman, the femininity of a effeminate man. You attracted to femininity irregardless of sex and gender. So a lot of these trans attracted men, they lay down and they are attracted, of course, to trans women because they're attracted to femininity. So whether it's biological woman, whether it's trans woman, it's woman to men. But like the caption of Maurice's video of him being berated by his biological heterosexual peers, the reason why these men are hesitant to be honest and upfront about their trans attractedness is because of the violence that they know they're going to be met with, the disapproval from their community, from their family, and the potential physical violence they open themselves up to because of how invested and homophobic and queerphobic and transphobic other motherfuckers are, that your literal physical life is threatened and your social life could change in
absolutely
overnight. What is the guy? Is it Jimmy Smacks? Anybody know who Jimmy Smacks is? He's kind of adjacent to the hip hop world, but he is on OnlyFans. And I remember year before last, like he does a lot of fringe OnlyFans content, like a lot of weird stuff, a lot of shock factoring stuff. Like he has had sex with a little person, etc. Where there was a video that was leaked of him receiving oral sex from a trans woman, and the content went viral, and the dialogue around that content went viral. And do you know that Jimmy Smack's own friends, his own male friends, literally, because he had the nerve to be trans attracted, his own male friends took to social media, like his homeboys in hip hop, his homeboys in the industry, literally publicly denounced him, even threatened to beat him and unalive him because he was trans attracted. I literally covered the story, Tramel.
Lord.
I covered the story. This man, minding his business, doing what he doing, getting to his bag, got the nerve to be trans attracted, and his whole social life changed. They literally took respect off this man's manhood, off his masculinity, literally openly denounced him just to make sure that they wasn't affiliated with, with this and with him. And this is and so when people asking the question of why niggas are unaliving, it's not that niggas don't know who they are.
Let me tell you this. Let me just
say they are trans attracted. They know these women are fucking trans. Why they
Yeah.
unalive these girls is because of homophobia. Why they on the DL is because of homo and transphobia.
Let me tell you this, and I told my homegirl this, and I might be a little bit controversial, or whatever. But this is my opinion. I strongly feel it. And I feel like a lot of people will feel me when I say that women, period, have a lot of power in what goes on in communities. You know what I'm saying? Women control men. They control the mind of a man. The man's mind, I mean, I'm a man and I know that my mind is very, very fickle sometimes. At times when I want something, I want it. And it's usually driven by sex and or what I can get from sex. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I feel like is that if women put out a certain type of temperature of how they feel about certain things, that men will follow it, right? To impress them.
Mm-hmm.
So women put out a whole vibe of that, I am a real woman. I am this. I am a biological woman. I am beautiful. This, you want some of this. You want some of what I got. You're going to spend your money on this and this. If you want to get with me, you're going to have to prove to me that you're a man. I do not like gay men. I do not like men who are attracted to anything other than what a real biological natural woman is. They put out that narrative quite often. That's why they make this narrative of, they're tricking these men. So these men make that shit happen. You might be attracted to a trans woman, but if your girl find out you're attracted to a trans woman, what you gonna do? Because you won't be able to get with her no more. Or if a woman feels like you won't like her, or if a woman feels like, or if you make, you know what I mean? Like if you can't get that woman no more, then your life is over. Because a man is supposed to always be able to attain women. That is your whole bread and butter of masculinity. That's what makes you a man, because you can get women. But if a woman don't want you, for whatever reason, especially if they feel like you're gay and or doing something that is out of the norm of heteronormative behavior, you fucked. Yeah. You're pretty much fucked in the community. So you
are. And women are pretty,
and women have that power.
Women, and biological heterosexual women are pretty vocal about that. Like over here, they have no problem saying, if a man is bisexual, I don't want
you.
I date him. Yeah.
So what they do, they be quiet about it. They
If
won't
you
say
trans
what they are.
attracted, I will not date him.
I
Like,
will not date you. But if a woman goes like, there are some women who are like, oh yeah, I'm into bisexual men. These men are bisexual as hell. Some of them. I ain't gonna say all, but
bisexual,
some of them are
pansexual,
bisexual
or
as hell.
trans attracted. I mean,
Trans attracted,
you freaky,
pansexual, all
they
of
got a
that.
high freak level. Yeah, they into some things. Maybe they get into some things.
They want to get into some things. But if a woman say she ain't with it, they quick to be quiet about it. Like that whole show where they were supposed to be, dating or whatever, and the guy told the girl, "Oh, I'm bisexual," and she's like, "Well, I wish you would have told me before. I would have never talked to you," and all this other stuff. You remember that off that one little reality show where that guy, I don't remember what it was called, like Love at First Sight or something like that.
Oh, I didn't watch them shows.
Oh yeah, well, it was just pretty much the basis of the girl was like, they were talking and she was really interested in him and he was interested in her and all this other stuff. And then he told her that he had messed with a guy at one point in his life, or he had dated a man, and that he was bi-curious or whatever, and she just really just went off on him and just like, oh no, you have to look it up. But she was just like, oh no, I wish you would have told me that. I'm not interested in a man who's bisexual. I only like men who like just nothing but women and all that other stuff. And then that whole conversation sparked from that. I would suggest you look at it. But do you even remember the episode of Insecure where Molly's character?
I never watched a single episode of Insecure.
Oh my God.
Behind. Yeah, I'm so behind.
Well, there was an episode where Molly was dating this guy, and he was a really nice guy, but he had told her that he had gotten he had a homosexual experience when he was in college, and that automatically made her stop talking to him just because of that one experience. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It happens. If a woman says, I don't want that, and this is in mainstream media, like this is on TV. And they're putting out that narrative like it was scripted show, but like,
no, this is like
this is a reality.
Art imitates life.
Art imitates life. So if a woman says she ain't with it, child, it ain't gonna happen.
Which isn't that so hypocritical, Tramiel? Because men have made a huge space for dating bisexual women. Like,
but what does that mean? I told you, men will
not reciprocated.
Men will do whatever these women say. If a woman say it's okay for me to be with a woman and I'm not gay, they just think, oh well, shoot, I can get 2 women.
Yeah, it's because it's the more the merrier, and I know what's in the underbelly of heterosexual women, like being turned off by a bisexual man, and you know how we always say that every issue within the Black community can be linked to white racist capitalism. Well, every single issue amongst women's community can be linked to patriarchy, because that the thought of being with a bisexual man is because of patriarchal influences. Because for one, immediately you think of a man's
being penetrated or
his
being feminized,
compromised as it relates to him liking dick.
Yeah.
And so there's that unconscious judgment there that you're not getting an entire man if you are dating a bisexual man. And then you have the patriarchal impact on women's psychology as it relates to this idea of competition. Lots of women don't like to admit this, and shout out to all of the honest heterosexual women in the world who can talk that shit and be for real about women's issues and etc. There's this idea of competition. So if women already feel and taking on a certain stress as it relates to finding qualified male partners, finding men who have great credit scores, who don't got no mommy and daddy fucking issues, who don't want to beat a bitch upside the head, who knows God and is healthy and who fine as hell, if there's already this competition pool and the dating pool is shrunk, and the data does support that the dating pool for Black women is shrunk, because most of these niggas are in jail, or they died to the streets, or their criminal record is compromised, which prohibits them from being able to make the type of money that a lot of Black women are interested in their male partners making, for the sake of, having a quality life and for the sake of being taken care of and providing a great lifestyle for the children to come, etc. And then they also Men being same gender loving also shrinks that dating pool. Trans women, which are biological males who transition, are shrinking that. And then now you get, and then you got trans, then they're also competing with trans women alongside biological women. But then you got a bisexual man. Like, I think that's when Black women just say, bitch, I'm already going up against enough. I got to compete with the opposite sex too, even though that's also a misrepresentation of a bisexual person. A bisexual person, just because they like both sexes, both
doesn't mean they will necessarily do both at the same time.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they are incapable of monogamy. So it doesn't matter that they are attracted to both sexes. Just like even if a man was straight, he's still gonna be attracted to other women. Like,
you know what I found that women would rather have a heterosexual man who cheats on them with multiple women than a bisexual man who is just loyal to them but who had messed with a man. Wild as fuck.
Wow. Yeah.
They would rather be with a man who cheats on them, treats them like crap, than to be with a bisexual man who's gonna treat them just great, be loyal to them, not want to cheat on them, but has had a sexual experience with them with the same sex.
I can't believe that hetero women would rather date so-called
oh hell yeah, they would. I've asked.
High value, would rather date a high valued narcissistic asshole who makes six figures, who's clear about the fact that you're going to share him with other women and that he's going to have mistresses, he's going to have concubines, rather than to date a qualified bisexual man. Yeah. Just because he has the nerve to also have a affinity toward men. It's just like, what?
I mean, you see it every day.
Or they would rather date Pookie, who does have a criminal arrest record, who is going to have to do some interesting entrepreneurial things to level up. Shout out to Kenneth Petty. And they would rather have a whole nigga who done been a gangster, who done sold drugs, who done unalive motherfuckers, and who's probably going to stay in trouble. Shout out to the Strawberry Lady from the Steve Harvey show, whose husband was an ex-con turned so-called high-end six-figure corporate businessman, only to find out that he too has a side piece, and the things he's been doing to get his six figures has been completely fucking illegal, rather than to date a qualified bisexual man, or even Tramiel, date a man who has some feminine tendencies.
Yeah, they scared. They would rather you be the crappiest of dudes than to be a little bit gay or a little bit feminine.
A mess. Okay, two more stories that I want us to talk about super quick, because homophobia, obviously transphobia, is not just something that's rampant in the Black community. It's something that is rampant in all communities because of toxic masculinity and white patriarchy, which created Black patriarchy and Black male mindedness. Okay. Check this out. Transgender teen unalives herself after torturous bullying. Taylor Alesena, a transgender 16-year-old from Fallbrook, California, unalived herself on April the 2nd, NBC News reports. On her popular YouTube channel, the teen recounted horrifying tales of bullying that forced her back into the closet. She says, quote, "I've lost tons of friends, tons, and it's been hell. I go to school every day and I get my lunch and I sit down alone." North County LGBTQ Resource Center said Alesena didn't get much needed support from her family and friends. With few adults to turn to and with no support from her school, her life became... Hold on, let me change this picture to Miss... Here she is.
Oh, she was so pretty.
Yeah, very pretty girl. With few adults to turn to and with no support from her school, her life became too difficult, the group said. Quote, Taylor was a beautiful and courageous girl, and all she wanted was acceptance. As Daily Mail reports, Alesena is the 7th transgender youth reported to have committed self-deletion this year in the United States. Heartbreaking. So that's just a small snapshot of her story. This is a teenager who not only dealt with cyberbullying, she was a content creator, an influencer, a YouTuber, but this young lady had no support in her life. Literally being trans caused, as we were talking about earlier, it changed the dynamics of her life. So when we're talking about people on the DL, we're talking about the down low community. Yes, it's a lot of things you could say about these people, but as I've been saying, self-preservation is a logical response to imminent danger of any kind, whether that's emotional danger, whether that's psychological danger, whether that's physical danger. It's self-preservation, and people will lie in order to preserve themselves. If that means avoiding pain, avoiding rejection, avoiding abandonment, folk will do that. And once again, look at how this woman even went back into the closet as a result of other people's comfortability, as a result of living in this system that only loved her conditionally, meaning that as long as I operated according to your expectations of me, you afforded me respect, you afforded me dignity, you afforded me protection, you afforded me compassion and love. As soon as I operate and show up in a way that's authentic to me, all of that shit is ripped and subtracted and snatched away from me entirely. And once again, this is the traumatizing fucking lives of queer people growing up in a very sick ass, judgmental, shallow world. Anything that you want to say to her story before we move on to the last one?
I think it's I think it's unfortunate that you can't live your life and be a beautiful person inside and out, and without people just like
doing the most
messing with you. It's like, oh, okay, we don't walk the same walks of life. They're just different people on this planet. You don't get the cornerstone of living on this earth just because of who you are. I think queer people know that better than anyone, that we don't just get to have a cornerstone of life and just live our lives unlike other people. You know what I'm saying? So I wish people had our experience sometimes.
And they can. I always tell people there's nothing keeping you from doing a social experiment. If you want to know what it's like to be queer, do a social experiment for a week. I want you to come out to your entire family as same gender loving. Just come out to your family. Call every significant person in your life. Your pastor, call your mother, call your pappy, contact your siblings. Call
and
the
you
people
know what? That would actually
be
a double. That would be a win-win either way, in a way. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like either you will get a negative response of, "Oh my God, how could you do this?" And I'm gonna you have to get out of my house and stuff like that. I don't ever want to talk to you again. Or they will be met with so much love, and you'll be like, "Well, damn, I think so badly of this, but I'm receiving so much love just for being who I am. Why can't I spread that around?" In my opinion.
Yeah. And if people want to know what it's like to be transgender, I dare any cis male or any biological female and who also are heterosexual, if you are a biological female, just come out as trans and start presenting in a masculine fashion. Wear men's clothing, put on a press-on beard, get one of them ball fade a man units.
Actually, they might actually get met with some very, very lovely people, because them trans men be looking good. I ain't even gonna hold you up.
I just wanted to walk. You can walk in.
Actually, I would say
a lot of them are fine as hell.
Try being a trans woman or a woman of trans experience for a day.
Both, because see, the thing about it is, Tremel, the Black community is the most conservative community in the United States and uphold the strongest respectability politics. So trust me, those trans men, those biological heterosexual females who would live in a trans man's shoes for a week, they would have their fair share of bullshit to put up with, believe me, because most of us come from religious and conservative households. Our mamas ain't with that shit. Our mamas are transphobic and homophobic. Our daddies are religious. And if they don't live it, honey, they all know how to slang them scriptures and slang those respectability politics when it comes to queerness all of a sudden. Yeah. And definitely for my biological heterosexual male peers, yeah, come out as a trans woman, put on your skirt and your heels. Shit, I bet you couldn't even survive in your hood for an hour as a trans woman, yet alone survive with your life for a damn week. You ain't gotta wonder, as LeVar Burton said in the Reading Rainbow, bitch. You ain't gotta take our word for it. You can do these social experiments if you wanna know the reality and the potency of homophobia and transphobia in the world. But see, they wouldn't dare because they all know what it gives. They know what it gives. That's why none of them would have had the balls to do that social experiment in their lives, Tramiel. And speaking of other communities and social experiments, let's move on to one of the most tragic stories, especially involving the youth and children. The tragic ass story of Gabrielle Fernandez. Those of you who watch Netflix and chill, Netflix and suck dick, Netflix and bust a nut, probably have seen this documentary or docu-series regarding Gabrielle Fernandez. This is courtesy of The Wrap, honey. Trials of Gabrielle Fernandez. 9 most shocking details about the unaliving at the heart of the Netflix documentary. Gabrielle Fernandez was only 8 years old when he was brutally unalived by his mother, Pearl, and her boyfriend, Gworl. And as detailed in Netflix documentary, The Trials of Gabrielle Fernandez, he was consistently let down by the system when he needed it most. Based on an in-depth reporting on LA Times journalist Garrett Theroff, The Trials of Gabrielle Fernandez chronicles how over 8 months Gabrielle was subjected to horrific torture, which included regular beatings, being shot in the face with a BB gun, forced to eat cat litter, locked in a cupboard for hours, and pepper sprayed. The cruel nightmare ultimately ended when his mother and her boyfriend beat him to death. But even worse, the Department of Child and Family Services and law enforcement were called to the scene multiple times before Gabrielle's death, and no action was taken. At one point, social workers even ordered Gabrielle to stop lying, allowing his abusers to continue the torture until the horrific end. Bryant directs the docuseries, which launched Wednesday on Netflix. See the 9 most shocking details about the case below. Incompetent law enforcement. As depicted during the series, sheriffs were called to the house by other family members days before the unaliving, but took no action. In fact, law enforcement there were multiple house calls, took Pearl Fernandez's word that everything was fine and never even asked to see Gabrielle. And when they did, nothing to family members. They threatened Gabrielle and told him that if he kept lying about his bruises, that he'd be the one to go to jail. They continuously believed the parent over the child with the burn marks and black eye. 2. The abuser's homophobic motives. According to family members, Pearl and her boyfriend, Mr. Agari, would call Gabrielle gay. In fact, the first thing he told law enforcement when they responded to the 911 call was that Gabrielle Fernandez was gay, which confused officers. Investigators found all of Gabrielle's clothing disposed of except for 2 dresses that he was made to wear. Because of this, there were talks about charging the couple with a hate crime. However, prosecutors decided that it was more of a motive and could get a bigger sentence, charging the couple with child abuse. 3. The horrifying evidence. At the crime scene, the investigator came in with red stickers to mark blood splatter around the apartment. However, there was so much blood that she soon ran out of the color and had to switch to yellow stickers. Inexplicably, there was blood in the sink. The abuse was substantial. They fed him cat litter, put a banana and sock in his mouth. knocked out his teeth with a bat, shot him in the face with a BB gun, and pepper sprayed him for fun while he laid in the bathtub. He would show up to school with bruises all over his face, as well as fresh cigarette burns and shaved hair. Gabrielle's brother testified that Aguri would hold him up by the neck, while his sister said Aguri knocked the air out of Fernandez on several occasions. During the trial, jurors were told that the autopsy took an unusual 2 days because the injuries were so substantive. The thymus gland was barely there. A normal boy's gland weighs about 100 grams, while Fernandez was about 10 grams. My God. The coroner said that this was due to stress atrophy due to all of the abuse inflicted on the body. 4. Gabrielle's self-deletion note and pleas for mother's love. Gabrielle Fernandez often wrote notes to his mother saying he would unalive himself and that he just wants to be a good boy. Days before he was unalived, he wrote a card to his mom telling her all the things he loved about her. 5. Gabrielle's unalivers punished, but social workers let off. Unsurprisingly, prosecutors sought the death penalty for Gabrielle's mother and her boyfriend, but they also brought charges against 4 social workers, something that had never happened before, accused of minimizing the significance of the physical, mental, and emotional injuries that Gabrielle suffered and of allowing a vulnerable boy to remain at home and continue to be abused. They were each charged with 1 felony count of child abuse and 1 felony count of falsifying public records. But in the end, when Aguri was sentenced to death and Fernandez received life in prison without the possibility of parole, the social workers escaped punishment. Just last month, by a 2-1 decision, California's Second Appeals Court threw out the case on the grounds that prosecutors did not prove the social workers had the requisite duty to control the abusers, and further concluded that they did not have care or custody of Gabrielle. Prosecutors have asked the court for a rehearing of the case against the social workers. 6. Gabrielle's mother likely instigated the abuse. Aguri delivered the physical blows, but prosecutors believe it was under the instruction of Pearl Fernandez. The documentary explained that she never wanted Gabrielle and actually left the child at the hospital when family members took him in. Family members were privy to the abuse. Pearl Fernandez's sister often slept over to shield Gabrielle and the 2 other children from abuse. According to family members, she was uneducated, started using drugs at an early age, which stopped brain development, was diagnosed with depression, bipolar disorder, PTSD, suffered from eating disorders, and had abnormalities on her scans. She was also a victim of gang RAPE and RAPE by an uncle at an early age. 7. The jury wasn't unanimous. During Aguri's trial, the jury wasn't unanimous. 11 found him guilty, while 1 man didn't believe he should be convicted of first-degree unaliving. His reasoning: if he had wanted to unalive Gabrielle, he would have done it a long time ago. When the jury was seeking the death penalty for Aguri, it was the same juror who voted against it because he felt they needed to hear Aguri out. 8. Judge angrily denounces Gabrielle's mother during sentencing. At the sentencing hearing, Pearl Fernandez apologized, saying she wishes Gabrielle was still alive and that she hopes her kids can forgive her one day. The judge, who had been on the bench for 20 years, said he never personally commented on a case he presided over, but had to for this one. He said that the pain Gabrielle Fernandez suffered was unimaginable, to the point where he would call it animalistic. But even animals know how to take care of their young. He wished that both perpetrators would suffer mental torture in prison about what they had done. 9. DCFS also fell in other similar cases. Unfortunately, 5 years later, another boy died under the very same circumstances. 10-year-old Anthony Avalis was denied access to food and a bathroom and was abused in the same way as Gabrielle was. Calls were made by teachers and relatives, but DCFS never helped the boy, who had come out as gay just weeks prior to his death. A spokesperson for DCFS said that they did indeed provide services to the family from May 2014 to December 14, and their last referral was in 2016. However, they did not receive enough information but provided the family with further resources, and this all happened in Antelope Valley, where Gabrielle Fernandez had died as well. When prosecutors went to Medical Hub in Lancaster, California, part of the Antelope Valley, they found it had been closed due to insufficient funding. The docuseries said that investigators believe that there had been more than 150 cases where children have been abused even after it was brought to DCFS attention. Most recently, a 4-year-old boy was being abused. A court order was placed to have him removed from his home. DCFS never followed through, and the boy died under very suspicious circumstances. DCFS declined to take part in the series in its entirety. Gay. These children, one, the 10-year-old boy, Tremel, came out as gay. Gabrielle Fernandez never did. They just assumed he was gay, speculated that he was gay, and therefore they tortured him like a wild animal.
And made him wear dresses.
Beat his teeth out with a bat.
Shot him in the face with a goddamn BB gun.
Kept him locked up in a cupboard in the bedroom.
Put cigarette burns on that poor boy's body.
Strangled him off of his feet, oftentimes knocking the very wind out of him. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because of the perception of being queer. Just
listen.
Not even evidence, just the assumption alone led to this. Just the belief, not even having substance to the belief. Just the belief, a child. Children, in this case.
This is
also felt by the system.
You know, they say something so profound and so just, there's not been one time, not one that I could think of that was publicized where a homosexual person and or person of the queer community has killed a child. Unalived a child, I'm sorry.
This is the life. So when T.S. Madison said transphobia impacts all women, I always say queerphobia impacts all people. It also impacts people who don't even identify as queer and same gender loving, but who may be a little effeminate or maybe a little masculine, creating a perception from others that they are queer, where they also are subjected to the same, sometimes physical and oftentimes emotional violence.
The most evil people are not even people of the queer community.
No. It's the slander of queer people for us, while the dominant
society, like, we are so dangerous to y'all. We are so up in the jam of being the most evil things that just need correction and needs to be watched. But we ain't the ones that are unaliving people around here. We not the terrors around here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. It's just.
But yet they want queer people to have children instead of trusting that those who don't want children and have none are probably making the best decision on both sides, because you should only have children when you're capable of loving them. So the fact that they often slander and they oftentimes take away from our existence by propagating this idea that because we don't reproduce, which is also a flaw, our reproductive still work, baby. That's why Brad and her wife have children. That's why Wanda Sykes and her wife have children. That's why so many queer people are married and have children, honey. Okay, we carry our own children. We use our own sperm. We use our own wombs. We utilize in vitro. We utilize surrogates. We adopt. We still deal with children, but you shouldn't just and once again, the same community that propagates that idea against us, that because we don't reproduce, then it means we're doing something unnatural, and therefore we're incorrect in our behavior. That's coming from the same community that literally created contraception. which is literally creating the means to not reproduce, who literally practice the pull-out method, who literally tie their tubes, who literally get vasectomies, who literally do all of that. Take the plan B. This is the same community that created the plan B, but telling everybody else that they are not morally correct for being same-gender loving.
It'd be the abortions for me.
It'd be the abortions for me. For me.
Hey, but I'm here because of one, so thank you, God.
You are here because of an abortion?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what you mean by that?
If my mom didn't have that abortion before me, do you think I would be here? Nope.
On a final note, what is there anything that in your opinion, what needs to happen for us as a people to move forward as it relates to the issue of gender and sexuality? Like, what do you think needs to happen?
I think that people need to really start thinking deeper past their just their struggle of acceptance and or being seen, and just realize that there are other people that need to be seen too. Like, we all need to be seen in some way, shape, or form, and that doesn't take away from each other. And I feel like people are getting lost in trying to make their struggle the most seen, and that's just for everybody. And I think respect is due to everybody. Respect is due to a dog.
Period.
Because if you saw my struggle, I see your struggle. I see your struggle all the time. I see you throw it up in my face every time I just say, hey, I just want to be on TV just a little bit. Why do we have to see this agenda? When there are other things that are going on, what about Black people rights? Mm-hmm. Okay, I see that too. I have that too. Yeah. And I'm trying to fight that fight too. But you see that I have other fights, my sister, my brother. Do you see I have this one too? And it's coming from y'all. Mm-hmm. So help me so I can be a better person, so then I can focus on just one struggle in my life. That's all. Just respect me enough. Give me that autonomy over my body, over my choices, over myself. I'm not asking you to change nothing about yourself. You asking me to change stuff about me that you don't even know. Hey, let me have my autonomy. Let me be me. Just let me be me without any interference from you, and I'm good. I'm not taking nothing from you by being myself. You trying to take stuff away from me for me being me. There's something wrong with that. I just don't see how people just don't see it. I'm not asking you for nothing but to just let me walk down the street comfortably. That's just something so small.
Let me dance to Beyonce's Renaissance at the gas station.
Yeah, because she made that for me. And you can't take nothing from me because Beyonce loved me. Guess what? Beyonce
we can't
loves
even
me.
Go out in our swimming trunks and pump gas at the gas station and have a good time without being fatally stabbed now?
Right.
Okay.
This poor lady can't even go to the goddamn store and get her makeup without you trying to get her number, and then her feeling like she got to run home first just to tell you that she is a woman of trans experience without you trying to unalive her.
A nigga can't even go to the 7-Eleven and get a pack of Skittles without a bunch of niggas berating him outside the store because of the fact that his woman is of trans
experience. Who is he to you? He ain't nobody to you. How you even know him?
Who's he to you? Don't lie to me.
Yeah. Did you want him?
Or do you want her?
Did you want her? You just mad because you couldn't have her? Listen, I know of there is a very notorious, it's not that notorious no more, but it was a notorious stroll in Atlanta where the women of trans experience would always go to get their trade and or paying customers.
to get
And that was a very busy street.
Mm-hmm.
And those men were very aware of the type of women they were picking up.
Absolutely.
Very. So you can't sit up there and tell me ever that they don't know, y'all tricking them. No.
Say that again for Cynthia G.
I'm sorry. I've been in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in the other room. Let's just say that. I was in the other room listening to the conversation while they were coupling. Man was married. Knew what he was doing. And who he was doing it to. Saying all kinds of things. I can buy you this. I can take you away from this life. I can do this for you. Mm-hmm. My wife never has to know. I'm listening to this man. Mm-hmm. In the middle of the clapping.
Oh, you was on your Beyonce. I hope you catch you listening.
I caught him listening. I was listening.
Y'all catch me listening.
I catch you listening. Pray you catch me listening. That man did not know there was 5 gay boys in that room just in case something went left. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was in there giving the time of his life. Went home to his wife.
Did you hear about that story last year of that piece of trade that them queer people had picked up outside of the gas station? They took him back to the house for a good time. They all performed oral sex on him, and I think it was a trans woman and 3 gay men. And after they all gave this man oral sex, he pulled out a gun and unalived, like he sprayed the room with bullets, ended up unaliving, I think, 2 of the individuals and wounding the other one.
That is crazy.
Isn't that crazy? Wild. I mean, on some Game of Thrones type shit. He literally went and got his rocks off, got his dick sucked, had this whole experience with this group of queer people, and then injured and unalived them afterwards, just so that he could walk out of the apartment with the
no witnesses.
Nobody would ever know. That's literally how powerful queer phobia is.
I don't think people really understand how dangerous that is, that just some ridicule and a little bit of shame from y'all could endanger the lives of so many people. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah.
It's wild.
And then they wonder why queer people be mad as hell and passionate when it comes to talking about these issues, and why the hurt and the rage is so real.
Ma'am, you was talking about menstruation, where we got people out here fighting just to walk down the street. Yeah. Comfortably. Mm-hmm. You can have your menstruation. We respect that about you. Mm-hmm. You can have as many babies as you like. You creating more people on this planet. We appreciate all of that. But understand that it's hard for some people to walk down the street.
Yep. And that's why we use the term privilege. And it comes so second nature to those who are considered so-called normal. That they can't even understand or relate from their place of privilege what it's like for other people to be able to walk simply out the door. I always show the story, but there was a trans, when I had a Facebook, I used to follow this trans woman, and she's not a passable trans woman. Like, you can tell visually that she's a trans woman, and she had went live one day, and she's also an activist. And she runs like with Hope Giselle and all of those girls who do like the work in the community, etc. I think she even works for a nonprofit, etc. But she just wanted to take us through like her day. And this woman, she lives in New York, so of course she has to take like the A train or whatever they're called in New York or whatever to work. So she literally has to interact with the public. And when I tell you that was like the live stream that changed my entire life, it changed my entire it informed me, and it ripped my heart out in a way that literally from that point I have pressed the gas on standing in the gap for trans persons, non-binary people, intersex people, etc., because the level of like social violence this woman faced just commuting from her New York apartment to the A train to go to work involved people calling her it. People like parting the Red Sea when she walked as if she was some type of freak show, or if she was some type of show pony, or she was some type of monster. Just the looks that people gave her on the train and not wanting to sit next to her. And this woman, this trans woman, was explaining that every morning she says she has to pretty much spend an hour just getting her mental situated for being othered, for being mistreated, for being called the F word, being called a freak. And that every morning, 7 days a week, this is her life all day. And all she's doing is being a regular person, going to work, trying to keep the lights on and live her life. And yet just the ugliness that oozed from society around her was something I have never, ever, it was a level of transphobia that I just never seen until that moment, Tremel. And it literally, I just remember like watching that woman's live and just like bawling my eyeballs out. It literally just like really fucked me up. And I was also so grateful that she allowed us to walk in her shoes and to take us through her life. And I think more people need to. I think more people, to your point, Tremel, earlier, more people need to walk in other people's shoes. And I hope that people keep telling their stories and people keep sharing who they are, because it's powerful testimony, and it really shapes the way that you see other people's lives and even see your own. And even as a queer man myself, like I also realized that even though I'm a minority within a minority, I also have privilege relative to other people. I have privilege relative to my trans sisters. I have privilege, relatively speaking, myself. And it's just very fucked up at the way so many people's lives have to be, just because of the things that's been taught and ingrained and indoctrinated to people, and people feeling that they have the right to dehumanize you. They have the right and have an interest. They actually have the motivation and the incentive and the right to make you feel unwelcome and unwanted without any real premise for that. Without your character coming into question, without there being any substance to that, just because you have the privilege to be oppressive and to be ugly and menacing and terroristic, you are, just because you a shallow, fucked up ass piece of shit.
I mean, it's like at the end of the day, it's like unfortunately, it's uninherited, like natural order to want to be above the lowest person. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's as you take pride in that, you take privilege in that. Some people really literally think, oh, I'm not that, so I'm good.
Yeah.
So for me, I take it into myself of, I do have privilege. I am graced, in that I don't have to experience that. But I do have empathy at the end of the day, because I have people who in my life that I care about, who I would gladly walk with. Mm-hmm. One of my friends, she's 6'5".
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
6'5" woman.
I don't even think I know how tall 6'5" is.
6'5". She's 6'5". She is tall. That's the one who was on the stroll, where all the stories that I've learned, all the things. I'm gonna be seeing her in a couple of weeks. Actually, it's her birthday, and thankfully she made it to 38. They say they don't make it past 35. You know what I'm saying? It's like she's changed her whole life around, and I get to see her after not seeing her for so many years, because she moved away. But it's when you see people and you see people that you care about going through things, it humanizes the experience for you as well. But some people stay away from it so much. That's why they don't want to be called cis anything. They feel like that's going to bring them down to a certain level of having to be understanding and have to learn something about the people that they ridiculed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because then they still feel like they higher up just a little bit on the totem pole of life.
So now they feel other, the way that they have participated in othering other groups.
Right. So it goes like this. It's people of trans experience, then it's the black gay boys, and then it's the white gay boys, and then it's black women, and then it's black men, and then it's who else? White women. And the only people who don't feel anything, I can only assume that don't feel anything, don't feel no type of oppression, don't feel no type of, because they know they're on top. White men.
Absolutely. But
they have no dog in none of these fights. White straight men have no dogs in this fight. They are golfing.
Yep.
We got black women over here fighting over
on fire.
we got black women fighting over who's a real woman and who gets periods.
And who takes a shit where?
Who takes a shit where? Who got to pee where?
Yeah.
And the hottest thing on their docket is 5 white men dying in a damn submarine on a trip that they chose to take, and they don't spend their $1 million to go on. Oh my God, it's just so depressed. We have a young man who just died on the street for no reason.
No reason. High on life.
Suffered most of his life just being who he is, trying to find some joy in it.
Minding his business, living his
life. Y'all got in a submarine that had a goddamn Xbox controller attached to it, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, we definitely gonna make it back." I'm like, "Hold up, how are these the same?" There's no national news about this young man dying on the street.
Should be going viral.
It's just social media.
It should be going viral right now since Black Lives Matter.
Oh, when does it matter? On February, shortest month. Please. I'm just saying, it's just sad that people don't think in depth about these things. They don't think about like who's really. I'm not saying we're like the enemy, who the enemy is, but you gotta see who your oppressors are not.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this, like as a takeaway from the O'Shea story, don't let your ego cost you your life. Do not spend your time arguing with people about who you is. I wish that when O'Shea walked away, he walked away and didn't feel he had something to prove. I also can understand when you take so much shit from society and you get to a point where you're just not going to let nobody disrespect you, and you're not going to let nobody just intimidate you out of a space and trick you off your spot, and they need to feel that way. But look at how delusional and demented and demonic people are, that they're not even going to let you argue with them these days. They're not going to let you, even though they started the shit.
They're not gonna let you say your piece and walk away.
They're not gonna let you do that. Like, as soon as that Muslim homophobe walked his ass off, I wish O'Shea would not have followed that man off into the parking lot just because he was fed up and frustrated and led with his emotions, and just would have not let that man take him there, because it costed him his fucking life. And these people, they don't love us. They already want to hurt you. They're looking for a reason to hurt us. They're looking for a reason. They want us to give them a reason. So if you gonna show up to the rodeo, make sure that you show up knowing that it's a rodeo and that it has very great potential to go beyond a verbal exchange. If you're going to give people that attention that they're looking for from you, and you know what the temperature of the room is because of the context of the argument and of the aggression at hand, understand, baby, it's a rodeo. So that can't nobody catch you slipping.
Babe, I would have twerked a little harder just to buy my car.
Yeah, I would have I wouldn't even, girl, as soon as
Honestly, I wouldn't have paid it no mind. I would have been
as
like,
soon
they're
as the
definitely
niggas would
not
have
talking
came
to
over
me.
talking that shit, baby, I would have been twerking on top of the car.
I would have got a little bit more.
I would have been popping my pussy on a handstand on the roof of the car. Like,
you tell I would have hit a split up in that thing, needed some big gay afterwards. Go get my big gay, give me an Epsom salt bath.
And I would have told the other girls, girl, grab the Glock out of the glove department too, just in case the bitch gets stupid. I mean, we ain't gonna go looking for no shit, but if a motherfucker coming over here with some shit, if they gonna come over here with some shit, if they gonna come up into this aura field, then that's one thing. We ain't gonna go follow nobody around because we ain't
don't
got
follow
nothing.
nobody around.
Yeah,
I mean, I respect. I mean, at the end of the day, it shouldn't have never happened because they shouldn't have never approached him about anything. But at the end of the day, we all have to be very mindful of, just our own power and who we are as people. And you can pop your shit and never approach nobody about nothing. You will never tell me what to do and I don't know you. First of all, I'm gonna dance and I'm gonna ignore you.
That part.
You'll never get a piece of me. Ever.
Yeah, but let me tell you something, Tramel. Or when we hang out, you're gonna be like, bitch, why you always got that backpack? Because the thing, baby. Let me tell I always tell my folks.
Oh, please have a thing because I need to get me a thing.
Baby, in the words of Jocelyn Hernandez, everywhere I go, I'm prepared to shoot a bitch. So I don't go nowhere without my backpack, which conceals my piece of steel, because I am very clear about the fact that I live in a world where people are dangerous, are mean, are callous, are cold-hearted, are demonically possessed, who will infringe and intrude upon your personal space, who will intrude. It was a video that had went viral like a few years ago of this. I don't know whether they were a couple or they were just good friends, but it was two black gay men. They were sitting out. I think this happened in Atlanta, matter of fact. They were sitting around a water fountain. Another group of incels came over and made these men leave the park just because they wasn't with this gay shit. Literally, basically threatened them with violence if they did not get up and get the fuck out of the park. And these two gay men gathered their things and left the premise as a result of this group of low vibrational ass niggas, like, and they bullshit. Gay people just minding their business. Having a cappuccino.
Sharing. Let me tell you this. They do. I mean, I'm gonna go get me one of them boom boom pals. And I would dare somebody to threaten me with violence, because the next thing you're gonna be doing doing the hopscotch, because I'm gonna be tearing them feet up.
I guess I'll see you next lifetime.
Nah, I'm just gonna hit the feet. I'm gonna let you know. What time now. I'm like, excuse you, say wait, say who, say hi.
Baby.
I think you might want to leave because you done brought some fists to a boom boom bow fight. And ain't nobody doing that. I ain't rolling around with now, bitch.
I don't play with these niggas. I was just in a shootout 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
I don't play with these niggas. I do not play with these niggas. Period. Like I'm just not gonna play. I'm not gonna give you a benefit of a doubt, because like only thing that's gonna go into my mind is I guess I'll see you next lifetime. I'm so sorry your mama gonna have to get to a fish fry. I'm not gonna play. Like,
okay, let me find out you giving people the 6 feet special.
I am not gonna play with
you giving them the 6 foot long special.
Play with these niggas, Trim. I'm not gonna play with them. I'm telling you, I don't play with these niggas. This is why all my friends always want me to go here and there, because they know if anybody gonna Jerry Springer the stage, it's me. They already know they protected. They already know, girl. Like,
so if you coming out with the Aaliyah bang yang
pop, we good, honey. I'm the bounty hunter in the clique, baby. Like, not gonna play with you. I'm not gonna play no game. Ain't gonna be no fussing. Ain't gonna be no fighting. Ain't gonna be no arguing. Ain't gonna be no nothing, sugar. Okay? You step in any kind of way, girl, that is perceivably a threat to my existence, honey. You start talking that sweet R&B shit to me. You start in your body.
Not you that you they start talking that sweet R&B shit.
Talking
You
that
gonna
sweet
give me the
R&B
quiet
shit,
storm.
bitch. Oh, okay. It's
I
gonna
gotta
be
give you the quiet
Ain't-
storm.
Ain't gonna be no back talk. Period.
Boy.
So I am a believer, baby, and
Pew pew pew. It's a chopper.
I am a believer in self-preservation and self-defense. Get you if you are queer, even if you ain't queer, girl, if you live a life that that oftentimes for whatever reason upsets other folk and you have to deal with a certain level of bullying, I'm telling you, like get your license to carry, get your proper permits. And I believe all queer people, especially black and brown, trans, intersex, non-binary, and same gender loving folk need to be suited and booted. Because these niggas are not playing with us. This society is not playing with us. And we just learned that from the O'Shea, story. This society ain't playing with us. We need not to play with them. And once we start busting back, once I start making the headlines, baby, a lot of this physical violence that we constantly hear trans black women on the unfortunate end of, a lot of this violence, physical violence perpetuated against queer people that we oftentimes see go viral on World Star Hip Hop and shit. A lot of these headlines, baby, will start to change the motherfucking narrative, and a lot of this violence will calm down when the headlines are homophobes attempted to intimidate trans women and were met by stray bullets all up and upside their motherfucking head. When the headlines start reading, girl, homophobe attempted to attack same gender loving black man and was met with AK-47 hollow tips into the center of his head.
No, it's gonna it's gonna read their favorite headline, honey. Cisgender man was met with unfortunate violence at the hands of not minding his business.
Period. Because I don't know about y'all, Tramel, I'm not gonna play with these hoes. I don't play with these hoes, period. I'm not gonna play, baby. I do not play with these hoes. I'm very, very clear about the fact that we are an endangered species and that we are prey in this predatorial
we're not the apex predator in this situation.
But that's the gag. We actually are the apex. We are low-key secretly the apex, but we only prey simply off of numbers. We are just the minority in the system, but we can be just as dangerous, and that's what I'm encouraging our queer peers to do. Be just as dangerous as these hoes are, because they're not playing with us. And once again, we need not to play with them. If it's the smoke they want, bring the motherfucking fire, literally and figuratively. Bring the motherfucking heat. Don't let these motherfucking folk fuck you up, and do not be naive enough to walk outside of your house and believe that you live in a system that's going to protect you. Look at that video of that trans woman from a few years ago. Me and Reckless just had a conversation about this situation, I think earlier this year, where she got into a simple fender bender, Tramel, and the group of girls who she had accidentally bumped into the back of the car of in this conversation that Black biological women are not homophobic. These women were biological women, heterosexual women, got out of their car and they were threatening this trans girl to give them money right out of her pocket for these like minuscule damages on the back of the car. It was a simple fender bender. It wasn't even worth $500. They wanted this woman to give them $500 off the rip. As a result of her not having the money, they started beating on this trans woman. She ended up trying to flee into this like food market or this convenience store that was adjacent to the street that this happened on, girl. These biological females whistle-blowed and got the entire community to gangbang on this trans woman. Niggas was jumping in, beating on this trans woman. This trans woman was running all behind the counter. The owner of the store was telling the trans woman to get out, get out, get out, because it was literally chaotic. This woman was getting jumped on by 12, 13, 14 people. Like, all you saw was them just swinging on her, men, women, etc. All because she got into a fender bender. And because she was trans, people thought she could be taken advantage of, and therefore took advantage of her. And because of the already inherent homophobia, transphobia that was there, used this as an opportunity to justify violence against somebody who they didn't accept from the jump. This trans woman didn't have the luxury of getting into a simple accident like any human being is probably going to get into at least one time in their life. Going to get into a simple fender bender.
That's all right, because if I was me, that fender bender would have turned into something else. Because, baby, what you're not going to do is you're not going to hit on me, and I got my car sitting right there. I tell you, this car going to be hitting y'all. I would run you over.
That part. Going to turn
I would have got right back in my car and ran
damn,
everybody over.
Going to turn the whole damn car into a weapon of mass destruction.
Absolutely. And I dare you to say something to me after.
Look, and this is why I carry you with me, because I'm just like, girl, any situation I get in can create this. What if I leave my house and I have a simple fender bender? I'm pulling out the parking lot too close to another car. It's filled with a bunch of hyenas. And I'm sitting in all my prettiness. I'm sitting in all my glory. And a motherfucker think that I'm something to play with. Like, I consider these things. I look at these situations that I see my trans and queer brothers and sisters in, and it just informs me that I need to stay motherfucking ready, because any situation can become a situation. Any situation. And then we Black, so not only do we got to intersect with homophobia and transphobia and queerphobia, we got to intersect with racism, we got to intersect with all this shit. So I just believe in staying the fuck ready. If you are a minority person, you need to have a permit and a license to carry. Tramel, I hope you get that. And you in Atlanta, I heard as rampant as Atlanta is with queerness, I heard that Atlanta is also very homophobic as well. I got friends who live there, and they be like, bitch, homophobia is rampant in Atlanta. Like my homeboy, he be like, I done been walking down the street, just minding my business, and had niggas like yelling the F word while they driving by. I'm like, in Atlanta, like, cause Atlanta gets branded as the Sodom and Gomorrah, as the Black premier space for queer folk and all of that. So to hear so many of my peers talk about how rampant and how explicit homophobia is in Atlanta, I'm just like, damn. So please get you a piece of steel, sir.
I'm gonna give me a couple.
Yeah, and we need to go to the gun range together so I can know that you know how to put that cease and desist on a motherfucking ass. God forbid you ever have to, because nobody walks around, looking to have to protect themselves in this way. But man, if you living unapologetically and you really showing up as you, somebody more than likely gonna give you a reason to have to cease and desist their ass. And I live very unapologetically. Very unapologetically. I move around very swiftly and professionally. I know who I am. I'm not willing to back down. I'm not willing to lessen who I am for the sake of other people's comfortability. And I'm not going to look for no trouble. But if any trouble find me, trouble is going to be in trouble, bitch. Trouble going to be in trouble if trouble find me. Because like I said, baby, just 2 weeks ago, girl, the bullets were echoing. It was very loud. It was a very loud event, baby. Because I'm not going to play with these motherfucking niggas, period. Period. If y'all ever wake up and hear that CTV girl done been found in a pool of his own blood, just know it's gonna be a few more motherfuckers found in a pool of they shit too. Okay?
Oh God, don't say
Just
that.
know, I'm just saying, just know, baby, CTV went to the upper room with a few of them, baby. I went up.
Oh well, they probably
It
didn't
was
go
a
to the
class
upper room.
It was a class action death, honey. Okay, I'm taking a few with me to the
They
upper
didn't
room.
go to the upper room. They went to the lower levels. You went up to the upper.
Okay, but I just know if we all got to leave the building, baby, we all leaving the building. Baby, it ain't can trust and believe. But I want to thank you, Tremel, for coming through with this. I'm really glad you joined me. And I think that this was timely. And I just can't believe that this O'Shea story happened like within the same line of all this drama going on around gender. It's kind of like weird, but it's timely. And a queer people, like, yeah, just
And you saw that Beyonce gave him a tribute on her website. Yes,
I would hope so. Like this man.
Oh no, she did. Yeah.
Like this man literally lost his life. Lost his life. Playing.
I did see a lot of love that was given, and even the most, I feel like, are the most homophobic, transphobic of all places, like the Shade Room and Neighborhood Talk, Hollywood Unlocked, like all of them had reported on it or whatever. And, I saw nothing but like good comments about, just people minding their business and just allowing people to live their lives and stuff like that. Like, so I think it resonated well amongst everyone. So that was nice to see and read, I would say. And even in this tragedy.
Yeah, for sure. It only makes sense to do. I mean, she made an album for us. It's a tribute to us. And this man lost his life celebrating her music. So, yeah, it made sense. But stay strapped up, y'all. Don't follow up these homophobes like that. Like, if they come to you, like, that's one thing. But don't go after them, child. If the universe allows there to be grace for people to go in a separate direction, then just let the situation fall away. Don't lead from your emotions, because these folk who don't love us, they for real about it. They mean it. They for real about it. They for real about not loving us. And it did not. And this man did not hesitate to stab this man to death. So please, but thank you, Sherman. I'm gonna send you a text. I know you got to get up and go to work. What time you get up in the morning?
I get up at I'll be up at 6:30.
Jesus,
I know. I got to be at work at 8:30, so it just takes me some time to get up. I'm
that part, yes. You got to have time to crank everything on, turn everything on.
And ever since I turned 27 plus 10, it's getting harder for me to get myself up.
Right, it takes a little bit more time for all the lights to turn
just on. A little bit more time for these lights to turn. The sun be full on blasting on me, and I'm still like, no, just 20 more minutes.
20 more minutes. That part, I know the feeling. I be having to put an extra bit of time on my wake up call too. Like,
absolutely.
It's interesting. Well, thank you. I'm gonna harass you in the morning.
All right.
Send you a text soon as we get off here.
Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate y'all.
Of course. Can you tell the folk where they can find you at on all social medias? Because you got music that's streaming, you got music videos that's out, you got a YouTube channel as well. Tell the folk where they can find you at.
Oh, you can follow me on everything at @IAM_Tremel. That's IAM_TRAMEL. You can follow me on YouTube on that. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter. That don't turn into this X stuff, but I ain't got no X-rated. Well, I might have no. But yeah, that's where you can find me at. Y'all just, check out my music. You can follow my music at Tremel, TRAMEL. There's a couple of them, but I'm the most popular one. I'll pop right on up. Just listen to my music. It's cute. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, go and take it in, and I will hit your ass in the field.
All right. Y'all do y'all thing.
All right, bye. That
was
Tremel, you guys. Make sure you follow my Tremel on all social media accounts. I love him down to the boots of the boots. This was a great dialogue. I'm tired as hell, so I'm gonna get up out of cheer. I've been asleep all day. And as soon as I woke up and got myself together and I went on social media and I saw this story, and I'm just like, oh my God, I gotta speak about this. This is so crazy, and it's just so crazy and tragic. And I mean, just to get killed because of living your life, just minding your business, minding your business. Minding your business. And that's was so offensive by the low vibrational whores yesterday on Storm's chat, girl, who talking about, oh, why trans folk line. Girl, shut the fuck up, bitch. Patriarchy is violence, is out here claiming the lives of all the girls, of all the feminine entities, bitch. And if you are as educated as you claim you is, you would know that patriarchy don't need no motherfucking reason to unalive a bitch. You would know that patriarchy don't need no motherfucking excuse and no reason to sexually assault a bitch. You would know that patriarchy don't need no motherfucking rhyme or reason to be animalistic and to be and perpetuate violence and to dispose of. You the one who talk all that shit. You the one who talk all that black male mindedness, being this, that, and the third. All of a sudden, all that shit get thrown out the fucking window just so that you can be transphobic. Man, move the fuck around. Move the fuck around, child. Cynthia, contact me because I want to put together that panel so that you and Rashonda and Sunny, if you listening to this replay, please contact me because I want to be able to set up a show and have all you ladies come and talk about woman's body and the medical community and just get into that conversation that you all were getting into on last night's panel. I think that was really powerful. And it's a lot of information that a lot of the conscious crew members was providing in the chat about the medical community and thyroids and just various things that are unique to black women, particularly black women's health and black women's relationship to the current medical community. So please contact me because I would love to. Oh, I think we actually follow each other on Instagram. You follow me on Instagram, so I'm gonna contact you. Sunny, if you listening to this, please contact me somewhere, consciouztv@gmail.com, or follow me on Instagram and send me a message, please. Rashonda, I don't know if you're following me, love, but send me your information through email at consciouztv@gmail.com, or follow me on Instagram and send me a message as well so that I can have a way to communicate with all of you and we can put together a time and a place and a show so I can let you guys come up and do y'all thizzle and just have at it, because I think that that's like very, very, very important content. We will be coming back today, technically, with a hot topics, girl. It's a lot of people on the docket, honey. So we're gonna get into some things, lighten the mood, girl, because it's been a heavy 2 weeks, girl. It's been a heavy 2 weeks with all the mess going on. But we're gonna lighten the mood, get into some celebrity shit. Do what we do, honey. And I still feel complete about my thoughts on everything. I am not interested in running behind other people who do not understand this, they don't understand that. Like, if you confused, stay confused. Like, don't be sending me shit to my Gmail. Don't be sending me people talking shit. I don't give no fucks. I said what the fuck I said, and I'll add more to it before I take it motherfucking back. But I'm not interested. I'm a teacher. I'm not a debater. So the way my energy is set up as a teacher is attracting students. So if I'm welcomed in a space to do what I do, that's one thing. But I don't go frolicking around the internet, inserting myself in conversations with indignant ass people who intend to misunderstand and who intend to not get it. I don't do that. I don't waste my time on those type of idiots. My time is very valuable. I have other things I would prefer to do with my time than to argue and to try to drag an indignant bitch to the water, which is like do nothing. I would actually prefer to do nothing rather than even do that. So the only places you will see me in talking this shit outside of my own platform are spaces that I get asked to be in. But y'all not gonna see me jumping in to shit just because people have an opposing view or etc. Like, I'm not invested that much because, once again, I don't need nobody's permission to live the fabulous life that I fucking live. I live well. I can buy all these hoes' lives, including Cynthia G's, who can't do nothing but put together $5 incremental cash apps just to talk to me. If you was gonna do it, honey, okay, you should bless the girls the way I be blessing the girls, girl. I be sending the girls hundreds of dollars, girl. The 500s of motherfucking dollars. If I'm gonna act like I can buy a bitch life, I'm gonna show you through the proof, girl. Okay, there's gonna be substance to the claim that I can buy a motherfucker's life, honey. Okay, Cynthia G clearly don't know who the fuck I am, nor how the fuck my bank account is set up, baby. But if we need to go big bank for little bank, baby, we can do that, honey, because the receipts will fucking receipt as it relates to who's a rich bitch, in fact. But I love you all. And pray for me. Pray for me, Greg. Like I said, girl, I do not play with this society, and I can't stress enough how if you are a black woman, a black biological woman, you are a minority. You are a prey. You are prey in the system. If you are a black trans woman, you are prey in the system. If you are black and binary, black and intersex, black and trans, black and same gender loving, you are prey in the system. If you are a black man, a black bio-hetero man in the system, you are motherfucking prey. And you need to act like it. You need to have more than a thing of mace, because mace only works when your enemy is up close, baby. You want to be able to stop your enemy dead in their tracks, even at a distance. You don't even want to give them the opportunity, baby, to even get that up close on you, baby. Okay? Get your permit, get your license to carry, and don't ever motherfucking forget that these hoes do not like or motherfucking love you. Don't be giving them the benefit of a goddamn doubt. Don't be giving them that trust. Don't you walk your ass around thinking that these folk gonna have your back or jump the fuck in. You saw what happened to that trans woman when she ran into that fucking store and the entire fucking block piled on top of her as she tried to seize housing and protection. Y'all saw how Maurice Willoughby or Mr. Maurice, the Philadelphia man. You see how he was out there alone against that lynch of niggas. Ain't nobody running his aid. Ain't nobody say, hey, all the good black men of the world ain't step in. It was that man against them lynch of ignorant ass niggas. Y'all saw Carlicia Hood. Nobody was there to defend her but her damn son. Other grown-ass men fled the scene. Other grown-ass women instigated the damn altercation. Other biological, heterosexual black women instigated Jeremy A. Brown putting his motherfucking stinking ass hands on this black woman who was simply waiting on her motherfucking hot dog and mustard. And her son, teenage son, had to send a grown-ass man to the upper room because none of the other actual adult men had enough manhood, had enough masculinity, had enough testosterone, had enough heart and humanity to step in and to put this nigga in check. This world do not fuck with you. Period. Point fucking blank. The system don't fuck with you. Don't be naive. Don't be gullible. They don't fuck with you. If you are a minority, all of us are the least protected and the most motherfucking disrespected. If you queer and black, baby, you at the bottom of 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 the motherfucking bitch. We are the bottom. We are the bottom. No regard for human life if you are black, and certainly no regard for human life if you are black and queer. You are the most disregardable. All these minority folk, bio-hetero, black men and women, black queer folk, get your shit together. Get your license to carry, your permit, take your ass out back and shoot some goddamn soda cans, or take your ass to the goddamn shooting range. Know how to shoot in the dark, bitch, in the late afternoon, in the early morning, baby. Train and test at all interims of the day, so that when these hoes want to come from you, girl, in the AM or the PM, baby, that once again you can send God back one of his children swiftly and professionally if they want to be with the bullshit. Now, I'm out, and I'll see you guys later.